Hey, what's going on, team? I'm back in the building with another movie review. Today's film is Sorry to Bother You. Now, let's just dive right into this film right now. Sorry to Bother You is a very creative and clever film. Because after watching the trailers, the trailer reactions, you get a sense of what this movie is really all about. But it's not until you sit down in your seat and you realize this movie is much, much more. In fact, it's so much more because once you leave, you realize that your mind has been exposed to so much and you haven't even realized it. I mean, it's like your eyes have been opened even wider to the obvious. Mind-blowing. Let's talk about this movie. Let's talk about the story. This movie takes place in an alternate present day of Oakland, California, where we find Cassius Green, aka Cash, down his luck. He gets a job as a telemarketer. He's not doing too good at that job. He runs into an old cat named Langston, who teaches him how to use his white voice. He uses that white voice and becomes the man, the top dog. This guy is making major sales as a telemarketer, and the sheet blows up. He becomes that #1 dude and gets sent to the upper room, which is called the power caller room, where he gets there and gets all that money. But at the same time, he loses friends, not really good with family, and he starts to realize things are changing in his lifestyle until he starts to crash and burn. That's what the movie's all about. This is a very creative script because even though it gave us that, it gave us much more. It showed us how an individual could be the dude, but at the same time lose. It showed us how people could come together and stand for something. It showed us that the people that are ahead of everything, these big corporate companies, have lost their goddamn mind. I thought this was a very clever script. Very clever script. In fact, I love the racial messages in this movie because it was nothing that was racist. It was the fact that it's what people look at, the visuals, the voices, and how we judge people on what we see and not what they can do. It's crazy. It's so crazy. I love that shit. The acting, Lakeith Stanfield did his thing as Cash, bruh. Tessa Thompson did her thing as Detroit. Man, they were beautiful together. Actually, I'm gonna be 100. I could see them together in a relationship, like real life. Like they had such a great chemistry together. It felt so believable. It was really good, and I think they did their thing as actors and actresses. They really showed me something. Armie Hammer was in this movie too. The man was on fire. I loved it. You guys know him, Omari Hanwick. Is it Hanwick from he plays Ghost. I love his character, and I'm gonna talk about his character later on in this review. Stephen Young from Walking Dead was in this. Terry Crews is in here, but he didn't really have a big part. But the chemistry that these actors had with each other was really good, especially for a Sundance type of film, and it showed their acting chops, and I really appreciated it. The writer and director is named Boots Riley. He did his thing with this movie. His message, his story, and how he directed it was beautiful. What I really loved about this was you can write it, messages on a piece of paper, but it's to be able to visually show it. Show the revolution. Show it. Show what's going on in the background. The obvious, but not obvious. Because we poison ourselves so much with digital technology, cell phones and stuff, and we don't look up anymore. We just look like this, and we don't see what has evolved. And I love that in his message and how he directed it, and was able to tell the story through his vision. I loved it. This movie has a lot of messages in it, and it's too many that I can actually tackle in this film. When this video gonna be long as hell. But there's certain things that I want to talk about that I feel needs to be spoke of. And the first thing was the main thing that got us in our seat. The white voice. What's a white voice? Well, Danny Glover was in this movie. He played a character named Langston, and he explained to us. You know, he was like, "You're doing it wrong, young blood. You're doing it wrong. You need to use your white voice." And he was like, Cash was like, "What you mean? I mean, I've been known to talk like a white guy, you know." "Nah, not proper. White voice. Like you ain't got a care in the world. Like you just parked your Lamborghini." I'm just, you know, it ain't what he said, all that, you know, I only saw the movie. But I'll get to it. But, you know, like you ain't got a care in the world. Like you got money in the bank. You know what I mean? You got all the women. You just calling them to help them out. A white voice. A secure voice. And it was at that moment I realized he's not lying. I've even been guilty of that. Somebody calling me with a white voice and giving them a chance compared to somebody talking normal. It's like, it's crazy how fast shit like that hits the fan. Because you gotta think about it. If somebody call you, like, for instance, like I'm talking, hey, what's up, Mrs. Smith? How you doing this morning? It's a glorious day. I was not wondering, would you like to sign up for our 7-page magazine? Compared to, good morning, Mrs. Smith. How are you doing today? Oh, what a glorious day. You know what? I gave you a call today because I noticed that you were part of something bigger than I was. Great. Would you like to sign up for our 7-page magazine? When you think about it, a dude went straight to it, but a guy kind of sidetracked, made her feel a little bit better about herself, but he used a certain tone of voice. He most likely gonna get that sale. And I believe it because when you work in retail, they tell you to act that way. Stick to the script. Them motherfuckers told me for years, you doing it wrong, Jay. You too real with these people. You can't talk to people like that. I said I can't talk to people like my friends? What you mean? Why I'm talking to them like customers? If I was a customer, I wouldn't even want to listen to this nigga. Tell you 100. I'd rather somebody come up to me like, what's up, bro? How you doing? You trying to buy a TV? Yeah, that's what's up, man. What you know? And if he knows this shit, we sold. You know what I mean? But I've been guilty of falling into that web. And what makes it more obvious, because I don't want to say I sympathize with people who run away from who they are, their color, their personality. I don't sympathize with them like that. But I understand them a little bit. Not saying I accept it, but I get it a little bit. Some people change who they are because they feel like there's no other way to be successful. And then they end up being semi-successful and they never want to go back. And it's crazy because society has built that where you can't be yourself anymore. You have to be something that people think exists, but it doesn't. It goes for people who have identity crisis, 100%. You see all these women on camera, they changing their lips, they booties, they titties, everything to give people an image that doesn't even exist just to be liked. You see people changing their color skin because they feel that they're either too dark, where they're not accepted because they believe people want them to be lighter. You have people changing their sexuality, trying to become something that they're not because they believe people think that's what they should be. It's crazy on how people have transitioned reality to something that doesn't even matter. Because I don't think nobody is really looking at it in those eyes. But we fixed our mindset to think like that. It's crazy. It's really crazy.
He ain't lying.
Second thing that I want to tackle was the company Worry Free. Worry Free was owned by a gentleman named Steve Lift. Remember that name. It was played by Armie Hammer. Now, Worry Free reminded me a lot of the company Apple, because when you get to the nitty-gritty of Apple has certain traits like I'm about to tell you. Worry Free was offering a lifetime with no paying bills, free food, and shelter. All you got to do is sign your life over to a lifetime of work. Just sign a contract that I'm going to work for the rest of my life, and I'm going to live here with free food, no bills. Now, when you go to the nitty-gritty of Apple, you realize Apple has certain homes like that over there overseas. And in fact, it's gotten to I saw online where they have nets around the company because those individuals can't cope with what's going on, and they try to commit suicide and stuff like that. And it's crazy because it's damn near slavery, but it looks good. And what triggered my eye was the fact that everybody in the commercials, Worry Free, man, sign up, bro, it's gonna be tight. They were all Caucasian. And they were making it look glorious on like MTV. Check out my crib, check out my bunk bed. This shit live right here. We having fun, baby. But you never seen none of the urban side in those camps. In those homes. You only seen the white people promoting it. But they They don't promote worry-free in the upper class neighborhood. No. They go to the urban neighborhood with the posters, the billboards. Become part of worry-free family. Sign this lifetime contract, no bills, free food, and a house to stay in for the rest of your life. We're gonna work you till you die, basically. But they only went to the people who has all these bills, who are starving. So they're basically making the poor the slaves. And what really triggered it was because not just Apple, but multiple companies have been accused of thinking like this. For instance, me working in retail, I remember a certain time in retail. I'm 32, but I remember when I was 14, 15, little jobs, retail and stuff, they treated us a little different than they treated us now. They wanted you to be better, grow, learn it, question things, become a hard worker, but have fun with what you do. But then when I start seeing the transition in workers, I realized they were hiring people that were not capable, incompetent, slower, stupid, not asking questions. There was one time I said I need my raise, and a motherfucker had the audacity to say the company didn't do good this month. Nigga, what? Nah, I need my raise. But he told the rest of the workers this, and they said, okay. To me, that's some slave shit, bruh. And I'm realizing companies are doing this. They're not hiring outgoing, outspoken individuals anymore, because the next thing I'm gonna talk about will happen. They're hiring people who put their fucking hands in their pocket, that put their head down like they're an ostrich in sand and just go with the flow and become, next thing you know, they become slaves to this market. They're told when to come to work. They make us work on holidays to the severe now. They got us working on Thanksgivings now, bruh. Thanksgiving, we work on Thanksgiving, bruh. The day after Thanksgiving too, you taking our holidays away. They trying to open on New Year's now. They trying to stay open on Christmas now. They already took our President's Day, 4th of July. Good luck. They're taking all these things that made the world run so smoothly because they want to conquer. And people with small minds accept these positions because they want a couple dollars more. And now it's mandatory. That's when I go into Squeeze. Squeeze is played by Stephen Young. You guys know him, Glenn from Walking Dead. He was a union rep on the low. He went to companies that he knew that were treating their associates bad. And he was fighting for medical, vacation time, sick pay, more pay. Just being treated like a real employee. And they hated the fact that this individual was a mole in there, bro. And when he came out, they were like, God damn it, because their methods start to decrease because people start opening their eyes. And I'm noticing this in the workforce, guys. I recommend people watch this movie. Really watch this movie. The third thing I want to talk about is how the union was able to get everybody aboard and unite with each other for a better cause. Because we see the way the world is going. And people were out there fighting. They were out there fighting. And I understand it's an alternate present day. But it was rare to see that many individuals fight against something and to make it better. And I really dug that. And I think as people, human beings, we need to stick it out and accept each other's faults and accept each other and stick together for the better cause. Because the way this workforce is going, we're going down the drain. I mean, I just told you, they got motherfuckers working on Thanksgiving, for goodness sakes. Do you see the way the world is unraveling itself? First things first, you give us cell phones. We don't pay attention to our loved ones. Second thing, okay, we go to these loved ones' events, but then what you do, you take us away from it and make us work. Now our kids don't grow up with their parents like they should, so now they resent us. So then now they go out in the street and they do Lord knows what. You see this pattern of decreasing us as urban individuals in this neighborhood? Do you see this shit? Yeah, the upper class, they ain't gotta work. They got the day off, especially the niggas that's making us work. They off for 3 weeks. Relaxed and everything, come back to work. Hey, what's going on? Snort some cocaine and live their life. But it's crazy how we're not even sticking together to fight against this bullshit. The obvious, bruh.
He ain't lying.
I'm one of those that fought against that. Keeping it 100. I ain't never been that type of person. I believe my day off is my day off. And I know the way the world's going, it's hard. You got to make a couple dollars extra and stuff like that. I get that. But that's what we're fighting for. So you won't have to work overtime. They say, I'm not going to pay you that much. I'll make you work more. Ain't that some shit? I pay you less, you work more. It should be vice versa. You should get more money and work less. Because you're doing the job. You're doing your job. You're doing it to the max potential. And you're making the bread for it. But instead, you're doing the job, max potential, and you're making less bread. That makes no sense to me. People, everybody, the world, you guys got to pay attention to what's going on at your workforce, guys. I'm telling you. Because if you don't, you will become a slave overnight and not even notice it. You'll be a slave to a company and not even notice it. It'll get to the point where your bills will get so outrageous. I'm telling you, it's like the obvious. Bills are going to get so outrageous that you're not going to have a choice but to sign your life over to be semi-slaves just so you want to pay bills and you can feed your family, who has obviously been, by default, placed in slavery. It's crazy. And another thing I want to talk about, television, another blind side. It was a show talk, I think it was called Watch Somebody Get Their Ass Whooped or something, and people just watching people get beat up all day, and they were just watching it. They ain't watch nothing else, just that. So I thought to myself, I'm like, damn, that's some crazy shit, because that's like watching the Kardashians. You're watching something so bogus, and you're just paying attention to it, but you don't ask no questions. Like, why the fuck am I watching this? This is stupid. I'm watching people get their ass beat. They're bloody. They're hurt. Why am I entertained by this shit? It's crazy. We have to really pay attention. And before I give a grade, just listen to this.
Turn it off. That's what I would say. It's hard for young people now because they're hooked. They're addicted. If you don't think you're addicted, and I'm talking about anyone, from the highest to the lowest, if you don't think you're addicted, then see if you can turn it off for a week. It got quiet in here, didn't it? Didn't it get real quiet? It's a tool, so we should use it. God has blessed us with free will. Now it's free will magnified, free will on steroids. You're free to go in any direction you want. It will allow you, and it's not the enemy. It's just a reflection of our own free will. And we all want to be liked. But now we want to be liked by 16 million. And will now some of us do anything to be liked? We used to do anything to be liked, but it was by the person in front of you. Now it's to be liked by 16 million people that you don't know. We have to ask ourselves, what is the long-term, if not the short-term effect of too much information?
Let's give this movie a grade. Sorry to bother you. I'm going to give this movie a solid B+. I recommend everyone watch this movie. Yes, the movie is bizarre and weird at certain times, but you got to look past that. And you got to understand that they put all those glitters and all that stuff on it so it won't be so in your face. But you got to pay attention to your surroundings. Personally, I don't think there's no right or wrong on what you believe in this film because there's so many messages involved. I would love to know what people thought about this film in the comment section below. Thumbs this video up and subscribe to J3 Entertainment for the real and the real deal, and that's for real. Shout out to Team J3. I love you guys and my Patreon family. J3 out.